Hello and welcome everybody, I'm Joshino, and today I'm going to be breaking down the Pirates Treasure Patch coming to Paladins very soon, and to the public test server tomorrow hopefully, in this video as quickly as possible, seeing as the patch preview show lasted for about an hour and a half. I'll be going over the battle pass, the balance changes, all of the bug fixes, and everything in between. First up, let's have a look at these skins. So first up is the Pirates Treasure Battle Pass. First up is Pirates Treasure Io. Io has actually straight away got a decent skin, and this is just a scurvy fox of a skin. The voice lines all are pretty much cheesy pirate scallywags and all of that, plus she is wearing a traditional pirate garb and hat, although pretty cool is that through her hat she has holes for her blue ears. There is also a hat, a pirate hat on the fox on her weapon, plus on First Mate Luna. She does have sort of long belts coming from her hat, or like long ribbons with tassels on the end of them. The VFX, these sort of animations, don't seem to necessarily be very piratey. They're just slightly more shadowy and more purpley in colour. Next up, and I think getting better than the Io skin, is the Pirates Treasure Ruckus. This actually might be my favourite. This pirate's accent is almost kind of Irishy, a bit more Irish. There's like a little bit of an Irish tinge on it. The skin itself is epic. His arms are pretty much boats or galleons with those chain guns on the end of them. Plus Ruckus has hooks for hands in first person, which I also think is cool, with little frilly little sleeves on there, you know, going for that full pirate immersion. Plus there is a compass in the center that moves, plus a moving parrot on a spring, both of which add so much to the skin and sort of life to the skin. On the left side is a dagger on a treasure map that doesn't seem to really move around, but the red button in the center also activates the ultimate when you smash it with your hook, and the Hexafire has actual cannons that jump out. It is rather incredible. Between the megaship Bolt and the Pirate Ruckus, I think this is a top tier skin. Next up is Pirates Treasure Maeve. Loads of people have wanted this skin for so long, like it's been one of the fan favorites, and actually it hasn't changed too much from the original leaked concept art, and neither has Pirate Treasure Ruckus, to be honest. So she's got blue hair, a cloth hat with those little ear spikes that were speculated upon before in the spicy speculations, plus a pirate's coat which really billows in the wind and looks rather epic on her. But the most epic part is the two shivs that look hand-carved with cartoony but also kind of realistic skull hilts, with makeshift bands of leather on the hilt, and that paw on the end makes it look really snappy. They also make a awesome sharp sound when thrown, and the ultimate itself plays a pirate shanty, plus has like a piratey visual effects that go around the champions that are blinded. Next up is Mermaid Ying. What am I going to say here there? It's a mermaid and it's Ying. This is actually kind of the first skin that kind of breaks the floatiness, but you do still float, but almost looks like you slither across the ground with your mermaid tail. It's almost like a siren slash mermaid, almost looks like you're slithering around like a siren, but the little accessories on the skin really make it, and that's the coral crown and the water sleeves and everything between that sort of add that character to this skin. Plus the mirror is almost not the same shape as all the other mirrors. The circularness is taken with sort of a bumpy nature with all of the shells and looks a bit more patchwork. Plus that little circle of water in the center really throws you off from what you're used to with Ying, but I think it looks good, and the beam of water is great on the main fire. It's very satisfying, like a lot of the water skins in the Shore Patrol Battle Pass. Plus the shadow of the Ying clones with the water, and also sort of the disintegration of water looks great on her. It's the same in this Battle Pass where you get recolors of each skin, though I don't think they all add too much, although they'll be flicking through now, apart from the Ghost Ruckus, which is a bit like the version of the Barrack where they became sort of ghosty. It's almost like the Dutchman Makoa, and I think looks rather good. I'm not going to go through all of the other tiny little additions that you get from the Battle Pass. I might do a full Battle Pass video when the test server goes live, but you saw some of the things like the Skull and Crossbones emote 3D, the Dead Man's Chest death stamp, and also they have a First Mate announcer pack, which is basically a pirate that's going to praise you as a captain, which sounds rather awesome. There is also going to be Golden Maeve and Golden Ruckus. I'm so excited for Golden Maeve. I just unlocked the Golden Daggers, and it looks so crispy, folks. It looks so crispy and spicy, and I'm looking forward to it a lot. There is also some other things coming. Some chests are coming back. There's a EDM chest with one thing that loads of people have wanted for ages, the Rave Maeve, that Grok, can't remember what it's called, and the hi-rez. Plus there's a Robo chest with Battlesuit Fury and a few other skins, and then a horror chest with most of the good Halloween skins, including Pumpkin Bomb King and also the Bewitching Eevee, which are both incredible. And one huge thing that they've added, so visually, although it's not actually coming in terms of skins, is a UI rework. There's more modern buttons, there's a top header bar and framing, which looks kind of more, it just sort of pops more. Plus tabs for champions with a preview on the right with a 3D model, and you sort of scroll across the bar now, because there were so many champions that it was going to get to the point, I think, with the next champion where you'd have to scroll down anyway. Plus there's tabs on the champions info, and all of the little tabs are all and sort of organized a little bit better in my opinion. It all does seem a bit more fantasy and generally a bit more sharp and poppy to the eye. There's also something that they've added in, which is a time warp event, so it's totally free to play, where you collect some rewards. This is actually speculated on a while ago. It has loads of sprays and avatars, and basically I think it's through first win of the day quests you get a lot of these items. They've also added a splash art update to IO this patch, which looks very nice. That was very derpy for the past one. I actually think the current splash art for the new IO skin looks a bit derpy, but let's move on from that anyway. They've also added in the fact that you can buy skins whilst you're in your match lobby. I guess that's nice if you don't have a skin, but you think, actually I'm going to play this champion, I want to buy the skin, whatever. And just on general changes, the rank split is coming, a new rank split, and Stonekeeper is returning, Frozen Guard is leaving and joining Frog Isle and Timber Mill in the Sin Bin. There is also a new game mode coming to the game. Well, it's kind of been here before with End Times. So there's King of the Hill, which is an Onslaught variant, like the End Times mode, where basically the point would move. Basically every 1 minute 30 seconds the point will move randomly, but with no mutators like anti-gravity, super speed, and loot cooldowns like the End Times game mode. So basically when you queue for Onslaught, you'll either get 1 point Onslaught, the normal one, or the King of the Hill. Although it'll be 100% King of the Hill on the public test server and maybe live for a little while. Anyway, dancing into some of the champion changes, and I'm not going completely alphabetical here because there's some like group changes. So first of all, ult mechanics are being cleaned up. So Androxus, every shot that you do not fire, you get 15% of ult charge back. So basically you can be a bit more tactical with it. If there's nobody around to actually shoot and you've used it, or they all die before you've used it, then you can just wait and then get most of your ultimate charge back without losing it. This is also going to be the same with Victor with their aerial strikes, plus Fernando has had a change where they can cancel their ult early. Finally, Grok will not use any ult charge until the pre-fire is completed, along with Ruckus Hexafire and Vivian Sentinels, which is really good so you won't waste your ultimate without the effect. And then a new change that has been changing with a lot of champions is Cassie's with dodge roll. When you end the dodge roll, you will carry through with the momentum of that dodge roll with the movement speed after that dodge roll ends, which is a bit like Maeve's Pounce, which if you didn't know was hotfixed to carry momentum after the ability, and basically before you just stop midair and sort of fall down, which is a big buff for both of these champions and will be carried on in a few of the champion changes. Next up is Dredge. His ultimate, Kraken, has had its damage reduced from 4,000 to 1,400, but is generally being buffed in removing the pre-fire timing, so you can click it straight down, plus the fuse time has been reduced from 2 seconds to 1.7 seconds, which sounds like a lot, but it's that split second that you can catch somebody in that ultimate, plus the knockback has been increased. With a lot of people like, wait, there's a knockback in Dredge's ultimate? Because most of the time it would have killed you before, because it's an instant kill on almost everybody apart from some of the bulkier tanks, but now it significantly knocks you back, so could be used to knock people off the edge of maps and things like that, or generally just displace people off the point or where they are in cover. They've also nerfed the base reload of the projectile's damage, so it's going from 1000 damage to 850 damage, so basically getting rid of the reload Dredge a little bit. All in all, nice little change for Dredge there. Drogos is actually getting a base buff, so his booster has going to have increased base effectiveness by 25%. The developers did say that this takes into account a lot of things, but basically at the end of the day will mean that you can be in the air a little bit longer. And with previous buffs with his momentum going forwards and little things like that, could be a big nudge for the other cards, the Fusillade and the Fire Spit legendary card coming through. Might actually push him into meta, though the talent card Wormjets is losing that 25% effectiveness generally, and it's being shifted into his base kit. Plus, he no longer increases his booster regeneration rate. So essentially, he probably won't be able to keep in the air forever with the Wormjets, although I think with some abuse he probably can stay up there most of the time, although this may be the thing that shifts Wormjets away and might actually make base Drogos part of the meta. It is kind of a big thing, almost like the Willow's little touches. Being little, but also being huge at the same time in-game. Next up is Fernando, and having quite a big change indeed. So his shield has had its cooldown reduced from 15 seconds to 12 seconds, which is big. The active time has gone from 10 seconds to 8 seconds. That's a bit of a nerf, but you will have the shield up more of the time. Plus the card Towering Barrier will reduce the cooldown of the shield up to 4 seconds if you max it out. So again, this can reduce it down to 8 seconds. Plus the Aegis talent card will reduce the shield cooldown from 12 seconds to 10 seconds now, before it reduced from 15 to 12 seconds. So basically you get Aegis base. And all in all, if you take that Towering Barrier card and you take the Aegis, you're going to have a shield every 6 seconds, so that could be a big deal. Generally, I think that's going to have his shield up more of the time, and the Fernando will have a bit more of leeway with their shield and sort of toggling it. Not quite as good as the Khan, but definitely up there. Next up is Imani, who has been out of the meta for a little while. So they've actually been buffing the fire side of Imani's kit. So Pyreball basically had a bit of an issue with its in-hand sometimes being looking left and right, although now it'll always look on the same side, so you shouldn't clip any of your projectiles on the left if you're aiming incorrectly, like with the Frostfire, where the Frostfire actually does go between left and right fire. So the Fireball is always in one spot, essentially. Another big thing is that Inferno Cannon base now allows you to move whilst you're using this ability. The movement is equivalent to the level 3 of Swift Seer card, though the Swift Seer card is changing, so basically it does the same thing, but you basically can buff yourself up to 20% more than you could before with the same level 5 Swift Seer before, although to be fair, you sort of lose more as you're putting into this card. All in all, this is quite a big buff for the fire mode, especially with that Inferno Cannon being able to remove, and we might see people shifting between ice to fire more often now, and maybe even seeing Imani in the meta too, but I think that's more of a big maybe. Io's getting a little nudge with her healing, so Moonlight will no longer break on immediate loss of sight, so you don't get that annoying effect of if you go around the corner, it'll immediately drop off. There's about a 0.8 second window before it goes. It's actually quite significant, and you can get quite a bit of heal off before it drops. Plus, it'll mean that you don't randomly break your link if you go into your cover, and will let you dodge better in and out of corners whilst peeking. Plus, overall, doing more healing even when you're behind a wall. Khan has had increased momentum after Commander's Grabs ends, so this is another little buff with all of the momentum cards, so you'll be able to move faster slightly out of the Commander's Grab. Koga slightly increases movement speed, plus the Shadow Step will have this increased momentum too. Finally, Cyclone Strike, and this is quite a big one. The initial moment where they are stuck in their ultimate and can't control themselves after the ultimate ends, so sort of vulnerable at the end of that ultimate, is now fixed, so you'll become immune until you can move again and you can use your abilities and stuff. So this will save a lot of Kogas after they have ultimated, especially if you waste your ultimate. Meldamba, after your Slither End, you'll keep your momentum. Finally, Pip, the Combat Medic has gone from 600 heal per shot to 750 health points per shot, which will really boost this talent card compared to the Mega Potion, and might actually make it a little bit meta. Ruckus has also got it after the Aerial Advance, where you get the momentum speed afterwards. Strix has had a few nerfs. The damage reduction card Roost has been changed, so now hits on players with Talon Rifle grant 2% ulti charge at each level, which is actually kind of interesting in terms of the fact that you could charge up your flashbang with Talon shots up to 10% each shot, so just 10 shots and you get your ultimate, definitely. Though Dexterous, this is a card that makes you switch quicker into your pistol, has gone from 20% at each level to 10% at each level, so it's harder to quickly flick into your pistol, and generally means that he'll be less powerful against flankers. The next big changes, and this is sort of grouped up as well, is damage reductions have been dropped down basically to 15%. So Torvald's Field Study damage increase has gone from 30% to 15%. This is a massive change and may make Torvald not an insta ban, although this is still quite a big effect, and the reason why Genos is quite an early ban. Tyra's Hunter's Mark has also had the effect. Basically, they don't get any bonus damage on their Hunter's Mark with the Hunting Party talent card, so basically it'll be the base again, 15% bonus damage, plus it no longer reduces the cooldown by 2 seconds. Though base Hunter's Mark's duration is going down from 6 seconds to 5 seconds, so again another little nerf, though the cooldown is going down from 15 to 14 seconds. They've also nerfed the card Favored Quarry. This is the card that reduced the cooldown of Hunter's Mark from 1 second at each level to 0.6 seconds at each level. All around here, I think Tyra's had a huge nerf. She was quite powerful in this current patch, and one of the picks that you definitely think about taking in ranked, but I think this may be a little bit too much for Tara just because she doesn't have everything else in her base kit to make up for it. So Ying has had a great life change. Basically, life exchange is one where you're doing the beam heal instead of shatter. When you're jumping, you'll no longer get any inaccuracy, which has been so annoying for so long because you need to sort of dodge as a support. So that's a massive little nice tweak for Ying. And she has been nudging towards being meta for a little while now. Finally, Xin has also been updated with her will to have a little bit of momentum carry, which is nice because basically it's just their mobility being buffed up. Generally, a lot of champions had their mobility buffed this patch. So is the mobility meta coming back a little bit? Well, we'll see. On to the hunt. So we're going to talk about the general changes first. So there were some issues on console where if you sprayed in one place on one surface, you couldn't put anything on top of it where the other spray had been. That's been fixed. The volume slider sometimes disappearing has been fixed. The spectator always showing blue team winning the points has been fixed. An issue where players could float to the sky whilst jumping on the top of each other's heads. I saw a meme post about this has been fixed. An issue where equipping a skin which has a spray. It would always equip the spray in the first slot of your sprays, which is so annoying. That has been fixed. An issue where having in-game names would sometimes mean that you couldn't chat in-game has also been fixed. Plus some big audio changes. So there's also sounds that weren't mixed properly before, where some things were too loud, like Dredge and Drogo's Primary Fire, Ruckus Beeps, Sarah's Shadow Travel, Talus Reload, and lots of other things that were too loud have been quietened. Also, there's been an increase on things that were too quiet, like Shore Patrol skins. The street style Maeve Prowl has also been reduced in volume because it was too loud before. The Grok Dance doesn't have a global clap. I didn't know about that, but that's quite funny. Plus also loading art has been fixed for Torvald, Kinessa, Bomb King, which sometimes showed us a question mark. Moving on to the champions, Drox's shots sometimes not registering when they're fired. Cassie's execution talent sometimes didn't trigger the damage bonus when you hit somebody with disengage between. Drogo sometimes couldn't be affected by a few abilities whilst using booster. Plus Amani Frost Bomb now detonates when it hits Renara's wall, it won't go through it. Io's has quite a few changes, so you can't no longer heal allies for Renara's wall. Third person cameras sometimes didn't center properly. You can create loadouts. Sometimes the create loadout button would be missing. Plus also wing visuals from Fury's ultimate would go in front of you and block your vision, but now will be on your back. Genos has had a fix with their bots where they can no longer move whilst ulting, which was kind of insta-death for a lot of people. Koga, you sometimes couldn't use your ult in Dragon Stance. Liang could take damage when ulting some cases has been fixed. Moji's damage amp sometimes not working properly. Plus FPS drops for Charlene have been improved, although they don't know whether it's completely been fixed, but hopefully it is there. Currently you have to basically every 3 matches restart your client and then play Charlene, otherwise you'll have FPS drops every time you draw your bow. But this hopefully has been improved, and they said it's worked with some other abilities that have sort of a draw up time. Finally, Terminus has had a few more addressed issues where they couldn't fire abilities while using Calamity Blast. And finally, the Eevee bots no longer can move whilst they're ice blocking. They're also working on currently, but they haven't got fixed, delays in ranked and customs, people not loading in, VFX stuck on after respawning, and friends list disappearing. Anyway, that is completely everything. Anyway, that is pretty much everything from the new pirate patch coming very soon, and hopefully I'll have a live stream up tomorrow of the PTS and also some more videos coming soon. Be sure to hit that subscribe button to check out everything that comes up soon. Also the like button if you enjoyed the video, and hit that notification bell icon if you don't want to miss anything, seeing as YouTube likes to not notify you about some things. And thank you all very much for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Joshino, being walked off the plank. Splush.